Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Astral Sorcery. Today we're going to be covering the attunement chapter, but not particularly attunement. Don't worry, we'll be getting there bit by bit. We're going to be covering, here let me show you a little bit of an outline. These here are the crystal lenses, focusing Starlight, Starlight Transmutation, Starmetal ore, the cutting tool, Stardust, Celestial Gateways is a nice little aside, and then getting you to the Celestial Altar so you can get to the next chapter. But this chapter itself has some of the best content in the entire mod. I will be covering most of that, including like Starlight Attunement, and all the goodies that entails, as well as rituals and wands in future videos. But until then, let's get on with a little bit of progression, shall we? First and foremost, this here is an improvement over the old looking glass, or what I keep on, for some reason, calling a spyglass. That's more like Minecraft 1.17 or something. But usually using this, you could look in the sky, find some kind of, or not, some kind of constellation in the sky. You can see how difficult it is to try and find one. I've actually got one in the sky somewhere that I've already traced, and I'm not finding it. It's rather challenging to find, and you only find one per night with the looking glass. But making a telescope, which, by the way, the telescope is just up here. It uses your old looking glass, so there's no wasted content there. You just craft it up on your good old, astral crafting altar, and then you plonk it down. Make sure that there's nothing nearby. Even if you have snow nearby, it's fine until the snow gets to too high of a height. Then it will be a problem. But if you have anything nearby or covering it above, then you're going to be in a bit of problem there. But you just right-click it once it's set down, and you can already see it is a stable thing. You see my mouse is actually moving around on here. It's really, 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 really big improvement over the looking glass. You've got little arrows on the sides you can click through to see the different locations. Now, you notice I just right-click, or I clicked here and it went to the next constellation. I already traced this one, but you can look, it's actually changed its position. So if I click again, it's changed again. It actually rotates to 8 different positions. You can see that there's actually a star here, there's a star here, and so on, and we can keep on tracing these in the sky until we get all of them, assuming that we've got the 5 base ones. Now, if you click one direction and back again, it resets it, but otherwise you don't even need to hold sneak or anything. You can just left click and hold it down, and you can start tracing these things and making, some kind of like party animal thing. This is not what it is. Look, I made an angel. No, we're going to continue on. You can keep going, and there's lots of empty spaces. Like we've got all these blank ones. This might be revealed later on for other constellations, but you can see that there are some more that I have yet to still trace. But currently I've got a couple traced in here. It's such a good one, and I do recommend that you sneak click, take all the constellation papers you have, and you start learning about them, because you're going to really want to do that at this point. And any of your regular constellation papers, once they're still saying there is nothing here, as you progress and you start finding more constellations and such, they will start unlocking into other ones. So it's always a good idea, in my mind, to keep one that says there's nothing here in your inventory, just so that when you get to that point, you're aware that you can start unlocking all the rest of the constellation papers that you probably have in your storage somewhere. But if your inventory space is at a premium, well, you might want to make that call yourself. So let's get out of here. You now know about the telescope. A real brief thing about sharing discoveries. You can make this here, and this is primarily for multiplayer. Basically, you can make this scroll of written expertise, and anything that you've currently unlocked, including your different constellations and such like that, can be shared with another player. And it basically takes you through the details of it. I don't have a second player in the world, but it basically just tells you there's nothing more to tell than what is written here. Right-click to embed knowledge into or learn from the scroll, or shift right-click to overwrite embedded knowledge. There you go. That's as simple as that is, and that's as much as I'm going to cover on sharing discoveries. But it is a really useful tool, and I love that it's actually a much more, cheaper tool than it once might have been. I don't know. It probably wasn't that expensive before, but we rarely use them. Anyway, we're going to get into crystal lenses and linking tools. The crystal lenses are okay. Linking tools are quite amazing things, because they allow you to do so much that you normally wouldn't. But look at this craziness that you could do with lenses. You can make a laser light show out of Starlight. It's pretty crazy. So how does a linking tool work? Linking tool, first and foremost, made like so. Pretty basic stuff on a Starlight crafting altar or above. And you will either, well, first you have to have some kind of Starlight source. And that's usually a collector crystal in this case of some sort, whether it be blue or white or whatever. And you're going to want to click on it, right click, and it says selected collector crystal. And then you select a target. Let's say this block. There we go. And then you wait a second and it says linked collector crystal to a block. And you'll start seeing this Starlight showing. Oh, it's beautiful. Now you notice there when I scrolled off to my book and back to the link tool, it says stopped linking. But yet it's still connected. All it does is it allows you, if you want, like right click, click on here, click here, 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 here. I can click it to multiple locations that quick and easy. And then just by not holding the tool, if I hold it in my offhand, it's still there, but not holding the tool at all, it stops me constantly linking stuff. So now when I click over here, nothing happens. So how do I do that? Well, if I want to undo this, I could sneak right click and it unlinks everything. Pretty darn cool. Otherwise, let's go back here. I can sneak click and then I can, well actually, yeah, sneak click. I can just click, click, and there we go. And everything goes back again because I already linked all the lenses. Lenses are a similar thing to crystals, except they don't generate light. They just direct it. So if you need to move the light that this thing gets, and you can link it to some stuff nearby, that's great. But I want to have it go much further. I want it to go, you know, way out over here, you know, up to this altar for some reason. You know, maybe this is really where I want my altar to be. And I would like some extra bonus Starlight from this collector crystal because I haven't figured out how to make them yet this early on in the game. Well, you can put down some of these these lenses and you can bounce the Starlight all the way up to your altar if you want. Or, even better yet, as you probably saw in the hallway here, some of these, the light wells, which this one has an aquamarine, that one does not. But you get the idea that by putting aquamarines and light wells, you get liquid Starlight. By focusing it with some of the light here from the collector crystals, then you're going to get it even faster. So that's so much better and highly recommended. This is one of the main reasons why linking tools are so good, because they advance the speed at which you can make stuff in here. Now, as far as making lenses, there are a few ways you can do it now because some things have changed. Now, if you notice here, I've got 2 recipe sets for making, lenses. There we go. This is your basic lens recipe. Any kind of rock crystal-like item can go in the center. So it doesn't matter if it's junky or not, but it will help if it's got a purity aspect to it. So to find out, let's actually look up lens in Just Enough Items, or JEI, and you can look here. It says lens, and it automatically lists the purity 2 aspect. This is the highest stat that it could possibly, or the best stat that you could get on this is a purity 2. So you're going to definitely want to use that. And as you're only using 1 rock crystal-like item in its recipe, that's the highest you can get. Because, you know, before, like a sword uses 2 rock crystals, so that would stack them. Like for those, it's like 3 per rock crystal, and then you can get them up to 6. This, you can only put 1 crystal in there, and you'll only get it up to its maximum. Purity 2. That's as high as purity can go. So, do I need to have purity crystals in here? No, you don't. Because honestly, I have been doing some testing myself, and I've got this set with a whole bunch of dirty lenses. Basically, they have no purity. Then I've got a whole bunch over here that have purity. And honestly, the speed difference in this really comes into play with the number of lenses you are using and the distance that you're going. And then it's still very minor. So you can get away without having to have purity in there. But if you do have purity in your crystals, it will still give you more, a faster, better transmission. It's just like using, like your internet cables. Do you really want to, high speed, or are you okay with, your digital cable or something like that, where you might get a similar rate, but the ping is less. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Let's go back here. Making crystals. You're going to see here, I put one in here with purity 2, and it makes 1 lens. Well, here's the big difference. This one has size 3. Pow, I can get 7 of those. And this is just soaking this rock crystal that had purity 2 3 times in some of the liquid starlight. So if you really want to have a whole bunch of lenses, get the most bang for your buck, soak your rock crystals first until they end up getting to a size 3, and that will get you more for your money. It's definitely worthwhile because, like I said, if I put this one in here and then I tap it with my resonating wand, there we go, I get my single. But if I open this up and I put my purity 2 with size 3 in there and then I tap it, I've got a whole bunch of them. So you can see here I've got a couple with purity 2, one with nothing on it. Let's click this up. I've got 7 now. There we go. Snow. It's definitely a problem. So you're going to want to keep it up off the ground. But there you go. I now have another way of boosting a little bit of magic energy. If I put something in the way here, you'll see that the starlight drops down. So that's one way that you can potentially kind of like, you know, add a little bit of extra starlight to something if you have a nearby altar or whatever. I mean, it's kind of nice just to be able to move around the starlight, but there's so many more uses for starlight besides just this and that. So let's actually get rid of this one. We don't need that. Let's unlink this, and all the starlight goes away. Heck, I don't even want these here anymore, because I'm going to show you the next part of the chapter. I've been dilly-dallying way too long on this. Starlight Transmutation. This is where you take starlight, and you link it to something like iron, and you get Starmetal. That's the most important one. But otherwise, you can link it on things like sea lanterns, sandstone, pumpkins, diamonds, sand, and get all sorts of other items like lapis, end stone, of course Starmetal ore, cake, emerald ore, and clay, which, for all of you that know, this will allow you to get to endgame in Feed the Beast packs. This will allow you to get to endgame in Botania. This will allow you to get to endgame in Astral Sorcery. Anyway, but just by linking it onto something, let's actually choose the iron, and it will shine on it, and pow, it turned it almost immediately into Starmetal ore, just like that. It's really good stuff, and you don't need to, you know, actually, I did not unlink it. There we go. Let's unlink that, and then you can mine this up, and you'll see that you actually get the ore itself. Now, what can you do with this? In the past, there was actually a grindstone. There isn't a grindstone anymore. It's gone. Grindstone be gone. So you don't use it like that. Instead, you put it in a furnace, and you get this, Starmetal ingots. And with these, you can then actually use them in all sorts of recipes and stuff like that. They're very important. You do not make armor with these. You don't make weapons with these. These are for tools and crafting recipes only. And there's only one tool that actually uses it, and it's a brand new one that I really like, actually. It's this one. You're going to be spending a lot of time with the Starmetal cutting tool. But I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself, but not too much. So Starmetal cutting tool on your Starlight crafting altar is a really cheap recipe. It's got about, I don't know, like 50, 75 uses, something like that. And you basically get yourself some kind of rock crystal. Let's grab a random one here. All right, size 1, shape 3, ritual range 1. Okay, that's a possible combination you might get by at random chance. So you then right click, or left click actually, so you punch this thing with your Starmetal cutting tool. There you go, 72 durability. And it splits it. Now, remember, I've got this one here for something else. But if I pick these up, size 1, ritual range 1, and shape 2. Oh, we lost something in there. I think that there was actually a little bit higher stat. There's a chance that you can lose stats by doing this, but it allows you to also split things. You might have to click it a few times as well, and each click will likely end up reducing the amount of the durability on your tool. But here we go, shape 2. So if I click this, there we go. I now have shape 1, size 1, ritual range 1. So this allows you to split your ores. your rock crystals. And you can combine them again just by adding a little bit of star juice. Let's do shape and size. And actually that's a terrible combination because you're going to think that you get size from this. Let's do ritual range and shape, right? So by getting a bucket of astral juice, the liquid starlight bucket, tossing it in here and waiting, you'll see that these two together, you can't put more than two together. I tried. It doesn't work. You only get two. But you put them together and there's they will combine together and the dominant one will suck up the smaller one. Now, if you have one with like 7 stats on it and the other one has 1, the one with 7 stats on it's going to be the dominant one. But otherwise, I'll pick this up and let's see. Oh, there it is. Shape and ritual range 1. There you go. So they combined. Now, there's a chance that when they combine, they might lose something. Let's try combining. Let's do shape and size. I think that was shape and size. Let me just double check. Size and shape. Yep. Okay. So just by doing this, there's a possibility that when they combine, just the dominant one keeps its stats and that's it. So you might lose it. You might have to do this lots of times. And you're probably thinking, wait a minute, so far I have yet to see a way of duplicating these. You can't duplicate them like you could before. You know, you remember where you would like soak these things over and over and over and over again. Eventually they would split and then you just try and get the stats as high as possible. Oh, actually those two ended up combining. So now I've got size 1, shape 1, shape 1, and ritual range 1. So 4 different stats. Well, actually, I mean, 4 stats total, but 2 of which are shared. We'll see about that. But the old way of getting these things maximum doesn't work anymore. And there are certain restrictions. You can only get so high with these things by combining them. But this is one way of getting the exact crystal you want, specifically for tools. If you want a high size, that's easy enough. You just soak the crystal in some kind of liquid. So you don't really need to try and get that. The shape, tool durability, tool efficiency, those are all things that you could eventually split and recombine to try and get your ultimate crystal. So you can see this one here, size 1, shape 2, ritual range 1. It actually didn't drop any stats, so I'm very fortunate that it did not. But in other examples I've tried, it has actually dropped some of the other results. Anyway, I mean, I could still keep on soaking this one just because size is easy to increase. Just by soaking a crystal in there, you can get it up to size 3. You can always split it off and grow more crystals. If you need crystals for something, you could always just take one that you have, like a size one that's split off, soak it up a couple times, split it off, and then you've got your throwaway crystals right there for, you know, just some crafting recipe that does not rely on any kind of crystal stats. But otherwise, this is definitely a way that you can create your own custom tool. I will be showing you in future episodes how you can actually duplicate and get more crystals without having to mine them, but not in this episode because that's in the next chapter. This is why we're fast tracking. So, moving on. Stardust. This is the last item that you'll need in order to get your upgraded altar. So, actually here, let me grab this real quick. Look at that. Size has already gone up another one. It's pretty good. I'm just going to keep on processing this while we're doing it. So, the Stardust. In this example, it's really easy to make. You basically take down a Starmetal ingot, which actually, let me grab a fresh one here. Put it over here. Throw it on the ground. Then you take your new fancy Starmetal cutting tool and you just left click it. You punch it with the tool. And then you get yourself some Stardust. It's great. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's the tool is great for crystals. It's great for making the Stardust. And there's other ways of making Stardust too, but this is your most basic way of doing so. Of course, remember, Starmetal ore into Starmetal ingots is smelted in a furnace. Now, the next step that we have on the path is to go straight to the Celestial Altar. Basically, you've got all the ingredients to do so now. You could even use one of those rock crystals that I said here, that it's just like a shape 1 that you splintered off with your new tool. That would work perfectly. And then you're not really wasting anything. Otherwise, you're set up for your Celestial Altar. So I have split off a couple of size ones here. Just size 1. There you go. And you get yourself your ritual altar. And that's it. You're done. You're leveled up. And remember what happened last time when you ended up making your new altar, and as soon as it was done, you click on it and you've got a red area. Same as before, make sure to click on it with your resonating wand, and you'll see the new setup. You can actually build it very easily. Now, if I go into creative and I sneak click in creative, remember, I'm in creative, it will automatically build the thing. Otherwise, you just right click with the wand in regular survival and it will show you the thing. And you'll notice that I have some old pillars on here from the previous altar, yet it still works. See? Proof that you can put stuff on there and it still works. It's really nice. It's really nice. So you can actually remove the old stuff and it'll still work just fine. We'll get rid of these. We don't need them anymore. We've got a new fancy, bigger altar that is going to be upgraded even further in the future. But you'll also notice that it has more storage capacity for more light, which we can also, use with lenses and stuff to enhance further. Plus, you've got your astral relays, your blue fields, and all sorts of crazy stuff. You'll also notice in chat here it says, you learned more about Constellation. That's right. You have opened up a new chapter. We'll cover that in a future episode. But for now, we're still in attunement. I'm covering one more thing, the Celestial Gateway. Now, this is made without any important information needed for the rock crystal in the center. You will need to make some nocturnal powder, as well as a bunch of stardust, gold ingots, and some glass lenses. You'll need to make 2 of these. This recipe only makes you 1. And you'll also need enough materials to set up this kind of little display, as opposed to just the gateway itself, because it requires a structure to function. Now, it has a lot of pluses and minuses, mostly pluses, about it. So let's actually go and check one out. So, a Celestial Gateway looks kind of like this when you have completed it, but this one has a few more extra fangled goodness going on. Usually, it's got a yellow light on it. For instance, let me grab this one, I'll break it, I'll put down a normal one, and you can see it is yellow with some white sparkles. This is what you'll usually see when you first set it up. Now, if you want, you can actually take a Celestial Gateway and change its name in an anvil. There we go. And you can place this down instead, and you can see in the top right there, it is listed as Varticus Central. And anytime that you teleport to this location, because these are teleporters, interdimensional teleporters, mind you, it will therefore list this name and this color associated with it. But that's not enough. I want it to be pretty. So let me get a crafting table. All right, there we go. Adding a little bit of pink dye means that I now have a pink one. All right, so Varticus Central, when I put it down now, generates pink particles, and they're actually really hot pink too. That's actually kind of funny. But anytime that you look at this now, it will be a star in the distance, like these. We've got some other locations. Some of them have no names. This is what happens when you do not end up, naming them first. This is what happens when you do name them and when you color them. This one's red, and it goes to the nether. I have some others, but you can't see them because they're actually very close together. And I wish I would have labeled them because it would have made things a little bit simpler. But let me show you right now. You also notice that everything fades to darkness and this star field. I try hitting F5 to change my perspective. It doesn't work because of the shaders that are in action with this. So let's go to the nether, shall we? So you can currently either sneak while standing in the middle. See, I'm not standing in the middle right now, so it's failing. But you can either sneak, and you'll start seeing these particles going around things, and if you hold it long enough, you will automatically teleport to the other ones that you've set up. If you haven't set up any other ones, you won't see any of these stars. You'll just see this. It'll just be blank and pretty still. Now, the other way of doing it is just by right-clicking. So I'm not sneaking anymore. If I right-click, I am now in the nether. Just that simple. Look at that. It's pretty cool. There was no editing in that one. There's plenty of editing in this video, but none in that. And I am now underground. So this is because I set one up here, I named it, I colored it, and everything. And you can see I've got Varticus Central, I've got this other pink one here, I've got a blue one, wait, what? I've got a gold one here, and a green one? What is going on? That's because there are several that are close to each other. If you go to an area that has several of these nearby to each other, like this one here, see, I've got one right over there. Now, I can see it. It's right there. It's the first pink one. The other one is Varticus Central. But this one's blue. There's a green one that's just the other side of this hill as well. So if I go back to Farticus Central, where is Farticus Central? I know it was, there it is, right here. And then I look in the exact opposite direction, you'll see that I only see the couple of gold ones here. So let's go to this one. And I now see a few more. So this is what happens if you group them a little bit too close together. There's one up there. That one I think is green. Yep. And then there's another gold one out there. And then there's this one over here, which is the other pink. We've got the blue one, which I think was on the other side of the hill. So yeah, you can definitely have a good like skip from one end of your base to the other. But also if you keep them too close together, you won't be able to access all of them. Now, this isn't all there is to it as well. Let's go back to Farticus Central. All right, here I am back where I started. Now, there is plenty more. You probably noticed when I first came here, it was a bit shinier. It's because aquamarines can be added to these things. What does this do? Well, it makes it pretty for one. It also locks it to you. It is now your personal network. You cannot have anybody else use this one. Now, they might be able to use your other ones if you haven't put an aquamarine on there, but there you go. Also, they could also just mine it up, but still, I mean, it basically will prevent them from using your network from doing this. It doesn't mean that if they mine it, put it back down, that they'll see the other ones. No. Any of them that have aquamarines, they still won't know where they are or anything like that because they won't show up on their own network. Now, this isn't everything still. You can actually invite people to your own network. There's actually a bit about that in the Astral Tome. Now, this is a bit iffy to try and remember. So I recommend that you just go to the Celestial Gateway and go to the end, and it pretty much tells you about accessing this. And it talks about it pretty much at the end in the last page. Essentially, that linking tool that we started off the chapter with, you're going to want to link your person. In this case, I've just got a dummy and it's not actually going to work, but you would right click on this if that was a person that you want to invite to your network. And then you would right click onto your, your gateway here. And then it would have some kind of information showing up on the side for a personal constellation, depending upon the person. Now I'm going to put a screenshot up of what it looks like. And this is if you were to invite somebody to your network, it will show up on the little edge there. Now, if you just right-click that, it basically will go away. Of course, I just ended up breaking this thing because I'm in creative. But if you just right-click it, it will go away. And then that person will no longer be in your network. It's that simple. So that's an easy way of just allowing somebody access to your own network. And there you have it, the fast track, even though it was a very long video, sorry for that, of basically getting to your Celestial Altar, plus the bonus of Celestial Gateways included. Now in the future, I'll be covering all sorts of really, really good stuff down here. I highly recommend you check it out, especially like the attunement and the perks that you can get. The rituals are super strong, and the wands are just a lot of fun and some really helpful building tools. So, if you guys enjoyed, please be sure to give a like, comment, subscribe, and as always, come visit us on Twitch, help spread the mischief, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.